For blessed are those who mourn. And again, my past understanding would have been like, oh, okay, so if you're sad in life, don't worry, you'll be happy in heaven with Jesus one day. But instead, upon this like more intentional pursuit and integration of the Beatitudes in my life and trying to be more open to where God might be calling to that, I almost allowed myself to grieve more for things in the world that maybe would make God sad, right? Like you hear about, wars that are going on or suffering here in the city that I live in, or even I saw in the news that a pedestrian was killed by a car. It's just like kind of a random news story, but honestly, that happens everywhere all the time. That the news is always sad, right? And instead of moving on, right? Like, okay, I don't owe anything necessarily. It doesn't impact my life in any way. I'm going to sort of like pause and allow myself to properly mourn the loss of human life. And it didn't have to disrupt my whole day or send me into like a spiral of grief or anything like that. But realizing that in that moment, and God was offering me the grace to properly react to the loss of that person's life the way He would, the way God would see that, whether that person had what kind of relationship they had with Him or anything, the way I didn't have a relationship with that person. How do I just, respond to that and mourn the way God would mourn the loss of that life? And it's just a small thing. And I'm not saying that because like, I think I'm so holy or I'm so saintly or anything like that. I mean, that was my effort, right? Guys, that took effort to even do that small thing. But it just became so clear to me that the more that you try to actually allow the Beatitudes into your life and actually try to pursue them instead of this passive way of thinking that I had seen before, that is actually how saints live. I realized how much more attainable or how much more clear the sort of, again, God's vision of things, the path to holiness was when I thought about things in terms of the Beatitudes and not the 10 Commandments.